Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for All About Android is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com.
This episode of All About Android is brought to you by Samsung SmartThings. Samsung SmartThings lets you monitor, control, and secure your home from wherever you are using your smartphone. Right now, All About Android listeners get 10% off any featured SmartThings kit and free shipping in the U.S. when you go to smartthings.com/Android and use the offer code Android at checkout. And by the Ring Video Doorbell. With a built-in HD camera and microphone, you can monitor your front door from anywhere in the world using your smartphone. It's like being home even when you're not. Right now, get $10 off the Ring Video Doorbell when you go to ring.com/allaboutandroid. And by LegalZoom. If you're looking to incorporate, form an LLC, get a trademark, and more, LegalZoom can help you get started the right way. LegalZoom is not a law firm, but can connect you with an independent attorney. Visit LegalZoom.com and use offer code AAA in the referral box at checkout for your special discount. Hello and welcome to another episode of All About Android, episode 230, recorded on Tuesday, September 8th, 2015. We are hopefully your weekly source for latest news, hardware, and apps for the Android faithful. I'm Jason Howell.
I'm Ron Richards, and we better be their source.
I hope so. If you're watching this, at least we know we're one of your sources.
I keep my eye on the charts, and we're pretty high up there. So
the ratings?
I think so. The ratings. I'm definitely keeping my finger on the pulse of the ratings of the audience out there. So how you doing, Jason?
Good. How are you?
I'm hot.
Really?
Summer has kicked in. It is. Wait, have you been outside recently?
It's true. It's.
I arrived here in Petaluma and it was 104 degrees outside.
Yeah.
Which is normally like a pretty crazy thing. But when I left San Francisco, it was 93 in San Francisco. So
we are experiencing in the Bay Area our characteristically late summer weather, at least for San Francisco, anyways.
Yeah. No.
We've been having warm weather since spring.
Yeah. No. But for me, it's
you hermits in San Francisco.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like
you're really now getting it.
Woo.
Yes, I haven't been outside all day. I've been in here
man.
working on this show. Hopefully,
there's a lot of news to cover. That's
lots
why.
Of stuff. Lots of stuff.
Android is a hot topic. See what I did there?
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
I'm very excited to welcome to the show first-time guest Dr. Joe Cohen. He's the founder and CEO of Kiddo EMR and also a board-certified pediatrician. First of all, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Hey, thanks, guys. Down here in Austin, Texas, we laugh at your 104. 104 is like April to us.
I had a feeling that would cause a good reaction from you.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, but I am, having been in San Francisco, I'm quite shocked that you even broke 90.
Yeah.
That place is Jekyll and Hyde when it comes to weather. And I also wanted to say that, yes, you are my weekly source.
Oh, good.
Excellent. We got one. We got one.
A rating of one.
So we got Dr. Joe and we got Brian. We're Brian's source of news, right, Brian?
That's right.
All right.
The one and only.
So we got two.
But Brian, you're kind of forced because you're the.
Well, listen.
technical-
Let's not get too technical.
Yeah,
right? I mean,
I watched
he's
this
here because he
show.
wants to be.
I watch this show every week that I work on it, constantly.
So we
does
got Burke. There's three. All right, we
Engineer.
got three.
Okay, cool.
It takes a village.
So just to kind of let everyone know, Dr. Joe and I actually struck up a nice conversation at this year's I.O. at a big Android barbecue event. You were there with a bunch of folks kind of putting on the event. And yeah, we had a really interesting conversation about what you're doing in the field of medicine and how that relates to Android. I thought it was fascinating stuff. So we thought, hey, let's have you on, talk about it a little bit.
Well, thank you. I wanted to thank you for having me. It certainly is a pleasure. And I am a long-time listener, watcher, viewer.
Right on.
And it's quite thrilled to be here. And yes, I'm being branded the techie pediatrician around the blogosphere as I share something that my patients have known for 10 years now, that we talk tech in the office. It's part of everyone's life, and especially when you look at the practice guidelines for the use of technology and safety and technology around children. It's very relevant to what I do. I just took it to the next level.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
We are going to talk all about that. We got a lot of news as well to discuss, primarily hardware from IFA, which I'll be honest, seems like an eternity ago at this point with the holiday break, and most of that stuff broke pretty much the day after last week's show. But we have to talk about it because there's a bunch of hardware news. So we're going to get into that. Google possibly making headway in China and how that relates to Android. Definitely some interesting stuff there. And like I said, how Android is kind of beginning to make an impact in other fields that we don't talk about normally on this show. We certainly don't talk about medicine a whole lot. And it seems like the right time to do it. So we'll be talking with Dr. Joe. And we're going to call you Dr. Joe throughout the show. Is that right?
That's what my patients call me, but please, by all means.
Okay. Would you prefer anything else? Dr. Cohen?
No, that makes me feel like...
JoJo?
No, Dr. Cohen makes me feel like I'm 20 years older.
Okay.
And my patients know me as Dr. Joe because when I used to, when I was younger, say Dr. Cohen, and I'd get Dr. Conan, Dr. Onan. For the kids, you know, because the pronunciation sometimes is a bit of a challenge.
Dr. Joe's easy.
Dr. Joe is simple, and it stuck.
All right.
Cool.
I have no problems saying those words.
I can remember
and not destroying it every time I try. So I'm behind it. Before we get into the news, I suppose we should say real quick, I didn't do a whole lot of reading into this because I had my plate pretty full today, but new Android distribution numbers hit
the monthly update, right?
I know, boy, are we just jumping in the streets and celebrating. Actually, this is kind of a big deal because we broke 20% on Lollipop. It's 21%. That's, that's
I like you're saying we broke 21% like it was a group effort. Like, listen, we put our minds to it and we broke 20% this month. We did it. Way to go, everyone.
I mean, if we're running Lollipop, then we did it.
Yeah, we did. Yeah. So
we can band together at least.
Nice.
On the other side of the spectrum, Froyo still hanging on for its dear life at 0.2%. Kind of just want that to drop off the face of the earth.
Wow, just holding on. Well, this is probably a good time. Hey, Dr. Joe, what phone are you rocking and what version of Android are you running?
Nexus 6 5.1.1.
All right.
Knew that off the top.
He says that with pride. I like that.
I know.
Confidence. Yeah.
I used to root all the time, but now I just discovered Nexus, and it just I take it out of the box and I use it. Tap and go. It's brilliant.
That is so true. Yeah.
Cool.
Bye-bye are the days where I would sit up late at night.
I remember those days.
Rooting and romming. Hey, it was a passion at that point.
And I do remember.
And then at some point it became a job.
I do remember the gambling, the roll of the dice every morning on the show day to hear whether or not your phone was functioning or not because of the latest build or the latest flashing.
Apparently it was worth all the trouble.
That feels like a lifetime ago.
It really does.
Yeah,
it does. Thankfully, we don't have to do that.
215 episodes ago.
Which also sounds like a lifetime ago. All right, let's waste no more time. Let's get right into the news.
Well, I hope you filled your ice boxes because here comes a hot piece of Android news.
There you go. There you go. It's relevant to the weather. I'll give it an A.
Although the weather was like 5 minutes ago.
But still,
could have come up with something a little bit more recent.
All right, hold on then.
No, it's okay. It's okay, Brian.
Trying to break 20% viewership? Lollipop did it? Can Android news?
Okay. That was valiant.
There you go.
That was a try.
Two thumbs up.
That was good. That was good. I like it.
Way to roll with it, Brian.
I don't know how to follow up because that was so good.
You follow up with the news, Jason.
That's right. I guess that's kind of what we're here to do.
It's literally your cue. It's literally the
the thing I have right in front of me.
It's introducing what you're about to do.
All right, everybody, settle down. Okay, let's shift gears entirely. China and Google. They haven't had the best relationship. Back in, it was around 2010, Google kind of stopped inside China due to a number of cyber attacks that I guess at the time were attributed to the Chinese government. That and of course search censorship. Basically, Google made its exit as a statement in a number of ways against that censorship. That left anyone inside China with VPN as kind of their only alternative for tapping into Google's services. And apparently that's about to change. So there's two things that's kind of bubbling up. And the first one is official. The second one's more like information. But start with the first one. Google apparently reworked Android Wear to remove its dependencies on Google Now and Google Play in order to allow for a version of the Moto 360 that for the first time will be sold in China and can work with forked versions of Android in that country. Things like voice entry and mapping are not going to be provided by Google services, of course, because they are still not allowed in the country, but by, and I hope I'm saying this right, Mavoy and Sogu, respectively. So I imagine those are local services that provide, voice and mapping support. And then beyond that, the information has a report that says Google is willing and seeking to find common ground and even willing to follow the local laws as well as block apps the Chinese government sees as objectionable in order to break into the country again. China is, obviously it's full of Android devices. They are everywhere. It's a low-cost, way of getting into Android in the country. Most of those, as I said already, are forked versions of Android outside of Google's influence, outside of Google's control. And obviously, that's a big piece of the pie that Google wants to get back into. So I don't know. I guess first things first is, would this be too little too late? Because, I mean, the cat's kind of out of the bag in a place like China right now, right? Like,
no, but I don't think it's too little too late, because I think that, they've been running these forked versions of Android based off AOSP. And they haven't, Chinese users haven't had access to the full suite of Google applications, even the limited ones that would be allowed to run in Russia, minus Maps, not Russia, China, like a communism on the brain, minus Maps and other things like that. So I think that it's the kind of thing where if you've been using something and something else is out there that you can't have, and now all of a sudden you can have it, you still would want, I think the average user still would give it a shot. And you're talking about new phones. I mean, it's been 5 years, so think about the life cycle as people are, are upgrading their devices and moving up in there. I don't think it's too little too late. It's just more, so what, 5 years is the lifespan of making a statement after a cyber terrorism attack?
Yeah.
Like that.
That's a great question. Yeah. So, Dr. Joe,
we get political now.
I know, yeah. And we'll try not to tread on totally, in a crazy political discussion here, but does this, how does this strike you? Does this seem like Google's kind of going back on a statement it's made, and is that understandable at this state?
I don't want to end up on any Chinese lists.
I hear you. I understand.
But the honest thing is you have to remember is that companies are there to grow.
Yeah.
And the thing I've learned in developing Kiddo EMR in our company and doing our business development is that things change and impressions change, and you tend to readdress old problems in a new way. So, I mean, you can't ignore China. Mm-hmm. So if they just try it, it's good to see they're at least trying something different. If they try to do the same thing and say, oh, maybe they won't hack us this time, then it's ridiculous. But at least they're trying something different. You can't ignore that market. You just can't.
Yeah. Well done, Brian. Thank you.
Brian.
Great.
I'm sure
knocking at my door now.
I'm sure the People's Republic appreciates the flag. But there it is. I mean, that's the thing, is like you can't, I mean, it's such a large audience base or user base.
Yeah, I know.
So much opportunity there, but there's so much, I mean, and I try to live a somewhat politically free life, but it's like there's so much stuff going on that's like, oh, really? Like censorship isn't cool, and like all these kind of these lines that we draw between our two cultures. And I mean, maximizing shareholder value, the next big frontier is China. So I understand.
Yeah, I can understand that. I also wonder how much of this is kind of the influence of the new direction of what is now Alphabet. It's not, necessarily just Google anymore. It's Alphabet, the umbrella company, and what that enables in making decisions like this. Before Alphabet, people might look at this and they might, it always ends up coming back with Google, unfortunately. And I'm sure they, maybe they regret saying this years and years ago, but it always comes back to the don't be evil phrase. Before Alphabet, that would be thrown around. Maybe this is kind of a signal of kind of a new focus and direction as far as that particular phrase is concerned, because Alphabet is the parent.
So
kind of
does
company.
So in your eyes, does the formation of Alphabet break them free from the do no evil
I don't know.
thing?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Exactly. Like it certainly allows them to break free of kind of the limitations of some of the things that they wanted to do, but felt limited by the fact that, well, Google is known for search and internet and all this kind of stuff, and we want to do all these other things. Alphabet allows us to kind of spread our wings and do those things, and maybe people understand a little bit more the direction and don't always bring it back to, yeah, but you're Google, why are you doing this?
Right.
You know, maybe this is a way for them to kind of spread their wings in a different direction as a corporate entity.
I think it's just to the point is that it's things change, the world kind of changes, and look at, I mean, Uber just announced another huge round of funding led by Baidu, which is the huge Chinese giant. So like it's the metaphorical walls are seemingly crumbling. But
not to mention. Hello, Huawei Nexus phone on the horizon. Event, by the way, this didn't make the rundown, but I can go ahead and mention it here real quick because we're talking about it. Event is rumored to be September 29th.
That's the word.
Which, that might actually be a Tuesday. Is it? 29th? Yeah, that is a Tuesday.
Yep.
I'm not going to be in town. I'm out.
I heard.
Which is unfortunate because I would love to go to the event. They don't do events for this sort of thing.
Did you get invited? Invites haven't gone out.
Yeah, no,
if you get an invite, hey,
I'll shovel it over.
You got a co-host,
Oh, I know. Don't worry.
Yeah, I'm right over here, Jason. Don't forget me.
I'll send Brian. I mean,
obviously. Yeah,
Thank you.
All right, well, moving on from China to something more domestic, something that will impact us directly. Android M Marshmallow is looming, version 6.0, and as we've already talked about, it's going to be bringing some new control over permissions within applications. And recently came to light that a new level of permission will affect applications that use floating elements on top of the UI, such as Link Bubble and Facebook's chat heads. You might remember these. These are sort of the applications where they can put content on top of other apps or on top of your launcher and kind of exist on a layer above the phone, which is really neat and been one of the things that people have highlighted as being one of the pluses of Android is that you had the flexibility to do that. But now with Marshmallow, users will specifically have to grant apps permission to do so, not on the fly permission granting, but via a page full of switches for similar apps with functionality. So basically, as Jason's got here, in the screenshot here. So if an application wants to utilize floating elements, you'll get a notification of it, and then you'll have to go to a screen to the next one to say yes, you can draw over other apps. LastPass is one they use the login.
That's when I saw it for the first time.
Yeah, exactly. So this is good in that if you don't like this functionality, you can turn it off. But this is also bad because, at least from a developer point of view, because it's several more hoops that a user has to go through in order to enable that, in order to use it.
Yeah.
I don't know, Jason. Do you think this is a pro or con?
I don't know. Like, I guess I didn't feel like. I guess I understand that more control over permissions is happening, and I think I'm okay with that. I guess there are some apps that were doing the drawing over screen thing not right, and I'm putting right in air quotes because we're still, I guess, trying to figure out like what exactly is right, what exactly is wrong in that regard. Having said that, I've loved a lot of apps that are using this. It doesn't change my ability to use them. Right. It just enables me to say yes or no, I suppose. So.
But I mean, and Dr. Joe, from your point of view, is it more of a hassle to have to go through and give individual app permissions to do things, or would you rather just have it happen on the fly and then react after seeing it load?
Our developers have I mean, this is actually a very appropriate question because our developers have a different burden than normal developers do, and we have to abide by the HIPAA privacy laws. So I'm really glad to see that you have more granular control as to which app can see which app.
Yep.
We will have a opt-in policy with full privacy to go, and then the patients will have to opt into permissions as they go, which I think is it's always better to opt in to something that you're sharing than I have to opt out of it because you read about it in a blog that somebody turned it on.
No kidding.
Right.
Which really bugs me, and I almost said a name, but I didn't want to say it. But it happens. It happens.
Yeah, no, it's tough though, because looking at it from the developer point of view, something like Link Bubble, where this is core to its functionality. Yeah. Like I could see it being a frustrating position in that you need the user to go through and implicitly say, yes, I want to allow this to happen. Yeah. As opposed to just being a function of a greater app. I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. I think more control is good in the long run. Personally, I don't like floating apps. There's not one that I've continued. I like the fact that you can do it, there's not one app except for LastPass that I actively use in the flow. And even when I get that LastPass thing, I go, oh, and I hit close more often than not. You know?
Yeah, I think the one that ends up time and again appearing on my screen is the Facebook chat heads.
Oh, it's just crazy.
It just always ends up kind of being in the way.
I turn it off immediately.
Yeah, I probably should.
Yep.
Man, I never turn it off.
I don't use any overlaid apps. It's funny. I use the single screen display all the time. I can't stand floating things.
Yep.
So then
the screen is small enough.
Right, that's my point too. Yeah, there's just not enough real estate, you know. Yeah, so
that's a good point. Well, speaking of Android M features, this is I found this kind of interesting. This isn't necessarily a feature that's easy to test, because if you do so, you're kind of playing with
fire.
Yeah, emergency infrastructure essentially. But I guess in Android M, what happens when you call 911 is, emergency call, place an emergency call. And by the way, don't try this at home. No one needs to do this to test it out. But what happens with it's confirmed Android M Developer Preview 2 is that when you call, it also pulls up a map of your location, so that when you're on the phone, if somebody asks you where you are, because that's always kind of like the primary directive is like, are you in trouble? Where are you? Yep. And the more information that you can provide in that scenario, the faster you're going to get help, right? And so this is a way to kind of surface that information in a helpful way when it detects that you're talking to emergency services. And I just think that seems like a no-brainer. Duh, why had that not been done before, or had it? It's like the hardest thing to test. Yep. You don't know how far back it goes because no one's just going to sit there and go, I'm going to try an emergency, see what happens.
Or when you're calling emergency, the thing you're not noticing is what your phone's doing at the time. You just wanted to connect, right?
Yeah, totally. So that's a very helpful inclusion, I would imagine.
Cool.
So there we go.
All right.
Let's see here. Okay, sorry, my screens were all
too many floating
See,
we
bubbles
got
on my Chromebook.
we got a Jason head, and we got just move it over there. Just
swipe, go away. Okay, so let's talk with you, Dr. Joe, about a little bit about what you are doing. So first of all, you and I had a chat at Google I/O, and we're kind of talking about Kiddo EMR primarily. That's kind of where the conversation started. And I don't know, I was kind of taken, first of all, by your passion with the project. And obviously you are founder and CEO of Kiddo EMR. So if you're not passionate about it, then I suppose you're doing something wrong. So bravo for that. It came through loud and clear. But also just kind of how it all integrated and into Android as a platform, which is obviously what we talk about all the time on this show. And it's just kind of a very interesting intersection of important things in my world. So thought we could talk about it a little bit. So let's start with Kiddo EMR and just kind of how would you tell, like, what is Kiddo EMR to someone who's never heard of it, and how does it apply to the people that are watching?
Kiddo EMR is a platform, and it's a pediatrician-developed platform that natively supports from end to end the process for physicians seeing and documenting their patients, getting paid, and for parents being actively involved in the process of being seen. We also are built to innately serve all of the unique developing stages of the human child. When an adult sees a doctor who sees adults sees patients, they see two versions of the human being, the adult male and the adult female. A pediatrician sees roughly 12 different types of males and 12 different types of females. The chart, the platform and documentation system, the electronic medical record, is age adaptive and provides dynamic displays of age-appropriate indices and forms for the physician, and also that helps our parents interpret their information. Because as you can see in the press, the parents want to be more involved. They want to have more access to their records, and I think it's time. It's high time that we see that. So it's built with contextual awareness to serve all of the unique developing stages of the human male and female in the context of what kind of patient, who you're actually seeing. We're also an open source platform that's been actively developed by physicians with our developer partners, like my co-founder, Ron Criswell. It's the native support to the process of outpatient pediatrics and family practice. And it's actually a thin client. Our clients don't need, well, let's not get confused. Our physicians and our patients don't need to run any software. It runs in Chrome. It runs on any device.
Oh, that's great.
And
Cool.
doctors, when they set up, don't need to have a server.
But you do have, you have a patient portal app that you've developed. This has all been happening over the course of the last year, right?
Well, we got organized about April of last year, but me and Ron sat down in 2013 to discuss what the needs of my practice had, especially in light of having used a commercial vendor product since 2005. It really wasn't meeting our needs anymore, and the costs were very high. So it's a product that was born out of my very experience. So you can imagine that our workflow is baked in to the programming, and that we've added over top of our open source framework called OpenEMR.
Mm-hmm. And EMR, by the way, for anyone that doesn't know, electronic medical records. Just to get that out there. I didn't know until I was kind of reading through this. I was like, okay, now I get it. And this isn't necessarily software or a service that us as patients are going to directly interact with, right? It's primarily people in your position practicing medicine, pediatrics, that sort of thing.
Well, if you were reading our business plan, for instance, and our scale-up plan is that we're an EMR, API, data, and HIE company. So in EMR, we've already discussed. Data is self-explanatory. API is a web service. Everybody probably knows better than I do what those are. But HIE stands for Health Information Exchange. And we serve as a HIPAA-compliant universal adapter for the transfer of any information between platforms, devices, and facilities. And when you lay out that framework and you build upon it, as we have for the past 3 years, what you have is a growing self-sustaining ecosystem in which to connect patients to their data intrinsically. Gone will be the days, will be gone when you show up to the emergency room and your child's records aren't actually available to that physician. This should have been a problem we should have solved 10 years ago. But today, there's still no real universal portal for parents to share the data with an emergency personnel, for instance. Our APIs allow for interfacing and integrating with other platforms without high paywalls, without major hurdles. We're an agile development platform where we can core out and replace things as we need. And we have partnerships with IoT devices like Slow Control, who's doing the baby giggle in Paris, France. The potential is endless. So back to your question, we face physicians, obviously, but we also face parents and institutions, data institutions, pharmaceutical companies, hospitals, because you can imagine the metadata, once anonymized, is the potential is we don't even know what it's going to do. When you have everybody plugging in new data real time, it gives me the chills, actually.
In a good or bad way?
In a good way.
Okay, good. You had to ask. How does Android tie into this? Because, I mean, obviously, a big part of our conversation was just how Android was enabling you to do so much. And we're so used to hearing about iOS first strategies, particularly, when you're talking about these I feel like I see iPads in hospitals, and I don't necessarily see Android tablets in hospitals. Why was Android, Chrome, open source? Why was this important to you with this project?
Open source has been important to me because it cut the cost of our platform deployment, construction, use. It cut it drastically. We lowered the cost of seeing patients in my office in Cedar Park Pediatrics in Cedar Park, Texas, which is north of Austin. We lowered the cost of processing a single patient visit, just one visit, from $58, which is the national average. It costs us $17.60.
Wow.
Such savings in healthcare cannot be ignored. We're not establishing large paywalls. We're not asking our doctors to invest in infrastructure. We're giving them Facebook. And Facebook matters for what it does. Now we can do it for medicine, and we're going to start with the children because that's where my expertise lies. So now when you look at open source, what it's done, integration into another open source platform, which is where the future is beheld in technology and mobile, that's very attractive to us. And therefore, Android just is sitting there waiting for us to tap the potential. And we've already done a lot of integrations, HIPAA compliant integrations, no less, with Google services and with Android. So that's it.
And that actually touches upon a question I had, which is, working within developing an application of any type can be a challenge, in terms of dealing with data and dealing with users and dealing with, interfaces and things like that. But then you layer on all of the compliance that has to occur in the medical industry, which from what my understanding is quite intense, as well as the security requirements. How navigating that, I can't imagine it impacted your development time probably dramatically, because it's two layers on top of what developers normally do anyway, right? I mean, it has to be that much more secure and that much more compliant.
I always, and you're right, Ron, but I've had to face HIPAA even when I talk too loudly in my office. So, the effort to make it work that way is, number one, well worth it. Number two, well needed, and we need it today. And it's totally possible. It's completely doable. There's no reason you can't develop in a HIPAA compliant fashion if you know what you're doing. And my co-founder Ron Criswell, who's been working in electronic medical record programming for 30 years, he knows what he's doing, and we've created a universal adapter for the transfer of any HIPAA compliant information, photo, video, data. And I guess that's all of it,
That's great.
That's all the data, and now imagine what you can share: your chart, your shot record, your lab results, your x-rays, your CAT scans, your photos, anything. So when one of the other very important reasons that Android is so important to us at Kiddo EMR is because, believe it or not, most of my parents walk in with an Android handset.
I was going to ask about that.
Most parents walk in with a cracked Android handset. I don't know. What about you people with kids? Woo! They break.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm going to get a splinter just looking at those. Some of those
totally.
phones.
And they just kind of the parents just kind of get used to it because they're like, I don't want to upgrade this. That's true.
Who's the time? You got to get the kid to the piano lessons, and then the soccer, and then
I don't know why you see so many iPads in enterprise, except for the fact that I know doctors hate to be trained, and if you're a hospital administrator, because of the buzz around iOS and because doctors can afford it, they're going to be putting iOS devices in, because people are more likely to use it. You put an Android in front of a doctor, they're not even going to sit around. They may, if they're not familiar with Android, they would be really difficult to train on it. So I think that's what you see. But in the most important part of what we're talking today is our consumer-facing technology. Never again will our parents be in the dark about what their children have been diagnosed with, what medications they're on, what they're allergic to, when their last visit was, how much they owe their doctor even, when their next appointment is. And that's what's very important. And as we construct a database, you can imagine what kind of resource we can become for parents in real time. We do have a board of advisors ourselves, of physicians that are, we're in talks with to help guide the product. My role is hopefully to hand off the mantle, the CEO mantle, and go into development and future development and ethical oversight. So that's really why Android is so attractive to us, and we firmly believe in Android first, and that's where our patient portal app is coming out for Android first.
Awesome.
That is awesome. And thank you for saying electronic medical records. That's what I meant to say when I said emergency medical records. I got emergency on the brain, apparently. Real quick before we kind of wrap this up, I know you're also working with the recently announced Nearby API and kind of some of the beacon technology, or at least you have plans to do that. Like, what are you planning to integrate from those into this?
The APIs that Google offers are extremely usable, actually very relevant to what we're trying to do. When you take your child to the office, you need to walk into the office, you need to stand in line, you need to sign in, you need to update your patient information, pay any co-pays or balances that you owe, and sit down and wait to be called. You may even need to fill out forms. With these types of APIs, including with using Beacon technology like Nearby and also Android Pay, we can do it when the door is opened and you just sit down. Time is money for parents, and we're saving them. We're going to save them time. And the patient portal app, which is coming out with really just the basic criteria for what a patient portal app should be, will be the framework for all of this automation using Android Pay. It's very hard to get an Apple Pay terminal in my office. I've wanted to, because patients do use. Don't get me wrong, people do have iPhones, but they want to use it. But out of the box, Android Pay is going to be supported for small business, and I think it just works better for us. And most doctors are most of them that are left in private practice are still small businesses. And I think Android offers a lot of enterprise tools that can help increase the health and lower the sickness in their patients.
Yeah, I mean, just in terms of being able to fill in any information before going to that's what always drove me crazy. Is like you sit down, you spend 20 minutes with that clipboard, and you're going through everything. I can't
through your history, and you're like, I don't know, did I have a blood clot?
Hopefully you remember that. But I don't even have kids. Just for myself, like it's a pain in the butt. So
it's a pain.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because in a sector that is so dependent and embracing of technology, it's been amazing to watch the customer-facing side of the medical industry play catch-up like this. I mean, recently, my last insurance provider was a big conglomerate here in the Bay Area, and I was just shocked at how bad the services were to get access to my test results and things like that. Like, I'm like, there's got to be, haven't we figured this out yet? Why does this look like a table? Why are there frames on this page? It's it's got to be better. Yeah. So
I don't use mine, Ron.
Yeah.
I don't use my doctor portal. It's like using America Online.
Yeah.
I love my doctor. I do. I love her. She's wonderful. She's, saved my life, for goodness sakes. But that's why our app, we're really trying to make it usable. It's in material design format, swipes, menus. And our patients are really excited. And they're also really excited because they get to try it first.
That's cool.
And so it's continuing to lower the infrastructure costs for being a doctor and for being a parent. We forget. I always say it's amazing. I can walk in the morning and a mom is getting her 2 babies out to come and see me. I'll be inside and ready with a cup of coffee, and she's just coming in the door. It takes like 10 minutes to get out of the car. Why do they have to sit there for 20 more minutes filling out the forms? And the thing is that, guys, you've been to more than one doctor. Is it a dramatically different panel of information that they're asking you?
No.
Pretty much all the same.
It's the same exact stuff.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, it's obviously something. I think it's probably a Herculean task to tackle, but it looks like you're on the road to do that. Real quick before we end this, what would you say the future holds? What's something that people can look forward to going forward?
Future holds doctor being able to practice anywhere, and a child being able to sit in any hospital bed, any emergency room, and having their chart show up on the monitor behind them, just like sick bay. It's possible, and we're going to do it. We're doing it in small respects, but we're in a scale-up phase. But that's the future, and that's what we're working on.
Rad.
That's awesome. That's great.
Good work. Good work, sir. Sorry?
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's all the baby steps we're taking to get to that Star Trek Roddenberry vision of the world, which which I believe can happen. So I'm glad someone's working on it, because I'm not. So
Kiddo EMR.com if you want to check out the site. And by the way, just might as well throw this out there because you dropped this bomb on me before the show. Austin Monthly has you in the September 2015 edition Top Doctor issue. You're listed based on peer-reviewed statistics. That's a pretty big honor.
That's awesome.
Thank you. It's quite, and all my patients have been coming in for the last 2 weeks. Like, we saw you at the grocery store. And I'm like, what? I wasn't at the grocery store. It's like, no, we're online. We were looking at Austin's. I actually have the issue here.
Oh,
I'm using it as a mouse pad.
No.
Wonderful. We have probably about 300 pediatricians in town, and there were 11 listed. It's an honor.
That's great.
It is actually, I'm sure there's a big explanation as to how the statistics are compiled. It's a very competitive market. There are children growing like corn here. It is an honor to be a part of their life. And having done this now for, we're celebrating our 10th anniversary, but I've been practicing in town for 12 years. They're growing up.
Yeah.
And they come
That's
to me
awesome.
and they ask for help.
They do that.
It's, the biggest and the best. You read our Yelp in Google. You search best pediatricians in Cedar Park. Our patients made sure we showed up at the top. But the best endorsement is when I hear a story from a parent the next day. They're like, "Yeah, I woke up at 3 a.m. to my son standing by my bed. He proceeded to vomit on my face, and then say, 'Take me to Dr. Joe. I'm broken.'"
Aw.
Now, and if you can, I was scared of the doctor when I was a kid. I'd be like, "No, I'll get better. I don't need to see the doctor." For them to ask to be seen, that's the help for me. That just
That's awesome.
that just takes the cake.
Yeah.
You found your calling, and it's very infectious, and that's awesome. I'm happy that you have the chance to kind of spread that word to all the fans of this show.
I'm happier to hear they're embracing material design.
Yeah, that's a
pretty
big deal.
awesome. Yeah.
This is a big deal.
That's great.
We were gonna go with hollow, but we decided not.
Good call. I think you came out on the right side of that decision.
Yeah. If there are any developers out there that want to help with, crowdsourcing and sweat equity has been a very important part of our scale up. And the Kiddo EMR Developer Core, CORPS on Google+, please feel free to join. It's a bit quiet in there right now because we're really busy with our new company in London, but it's a community that's about to wake up as the Big Android Barbecue arrives in October, and it's a great anchor in case you want to keep in touch and keep on the pulse of what's going on.
Right on. Excellent.
Cool.
Stick around, Dr. Joe. We're not done with you. You're going to be here for the rest of the show. We're going to talk about a lot of hardware. We'll probably have to blast through the hardware, to be honest, because and that's okay. We don't need to rattle off specs until the sun rises
the high
tomorrow morning.
points.
Yeah. But before we do that,
Let's thank a sponsor. Let's thank Samsung SmartThings for sponsoring this episode of All About Android. And as Dr. Joe is evidence of, we live in a smart world. Phones, light bulbs, even cups, they're all smart, but none of these so-called smart devices work together. Samsung SmartThings changes everything by connecting all of your favorite smart devices into one easy-to-use interface that lets you easily control, monitor, and secure your home from anywhere in the world. With SmartThings, you can let your home know when you're on the way, so the lights are on and the AC is cranked, which is key on a day like today in the summer. It'll even unlock your door when you pull into the driveway. You can program different actions to happen when you're asleep, awake, at home, or away. You can get an immediate alert on your smartphone if water is detected where it doesn't belong. And listen, I had a leak in my house once. I wish I had that because that would have saved me thousands of dollars. So with no contracts, no monthly fees, or messy installations, SmartThings is the easiest way to protect your home. I'm a big fan of Internet of Things. You're going to hear later in the show how big of a fan I am of it. And I love these new smart devices that are able to empower technology within your home and control the appliances and control the technology that you use every day and just make it work better for you. I love it. SmartThings is amazing. So listen, right now, Samsung SmartThings is offering our audience 10% off any featured SmartThings kit and free shipping in the U.S. when you go to smartthings.com/Android and use the offer code Android. Make your home a more intelligent place with SmartThings at smartthings.com/Android. Use that offer code Android to get the deal today. And we thank Samsung SmartThings for their support.
Excellent. Thank you, Samsung SmartThings. Okay, speaking of cool hardware, we've got a lot of it, so let's run through it in hardware. We'll take deep breaths, and we'll do this like we're at an auction. Auctioneer voice.
I'm stretching. I'm getting ready. All right. Let's do this. All right. So IFA was last week. If you were in Berlin in Germany, if you saw the phones that were rolled out, I was not. I was watching at home. Yeah. But first up was Sony. The Sony Xperia Z5 trio of phones was announced. To run down these real quickly, the Z5 Premium, a 5.5-inch phone with a 4K display.
Oh, you know what?
Yeah, that's a big deal. So
I don't even know how to answer after you know what, but 4K display.
4K display. There's also the regular Z5, which is a 5.2-inch 1080p display, and the Z5 Compact, which is a 4.6-inch 720p display. So I like that. Not only do the phones get smaller, but so does the resolution. Like that's a clever way of keeping that in mind. They've all got the same Snapdragon 8190 processor, 32 gig of storage, micro SD, all the stuff that you'd expect from that. And Sony's top of the line Exmor RS 23 megapixel image sensors, which by most accounts are some of the best in the industry. So they're gonna have super nice phones. Do we need a 4K phone?
That's the big question. I'm going to leave this hot button question in Dr. Joe's hands. Do you need a 4K display, Dr. Joe?
My eyes aren't that good anymore. With glasses, maybe I just would love to see the battery drain on that display.
Yeah, I'm very curious.
Right? Oh,
it has to be worth the trade-off.
I don't think we need it, but you could see the negative press that companies like OnePlus staying with 1080p get just by not having Quad HD.
Yep.
Yeah, but
you almost kind of have to have it to beat your benchmarks. But
I suppose.
Frankly, I don't want it.
The thing I think about with a 4K display on my phone is not about how crisp video and really nice photos can look, but more how bad low-res images on the web will look. Right? I mean, because
that's true.
Think about all the images out there that are less than 300 by 150 pixels. You know, like they're pixely. They're gonna look like garbage. So.
Now I remember when Quad HD, way back when Quad HD was hitting the phones, and everybody, including myself, was like, "Why on earth do you need that?" Everybody was very quick to point out. If you're doing VR with your handset, that comes in handy, because then when you blow up the screen with the magnifying glasses that are Google Cardboard and other viewers, you see a little bit less of those jagged edges the higher res the display is. So if it's a 4K display,
that's pretty cool.
It's probably going to look good in VR, I would guess, compared to everything else. Having said that, how important is that to you for the other trade-offs? Is the times that you're going to use your phone to watch VR content or play a VR game versus, I don't know, every single day that you use your phone and it's not charging, so it's on its battery, which is more important? I guess it remains to be seen how much of a big battery draw the 4K display is. I have to imagine it's significant enough, though. But
all right,
Huawei had a couple of interesting devices. First, the Mate S. $728 US, but they listed it at 650 euros. It's a full metal design, 5.5-inch full HD display. What's interesting here is it has support for force feedback, so force touch, essentially. Force touch before Apple's rumored force touch on its iPhone, which we'll probably maybe or maybe not hear about during their event tomorrow. And essentially, in this case, you could press on the screen at varying degrees to zoom in or out.
Oh, cool.
Okay, you could use the screen as a scale, so you could put like an orange on it, and it will tell you how much the orange weighs. I suppose that's handy.
Yeah.
It remains to be seen how essential it is.
Reminds me of using the screen as a tape measure. Remember those apps?
Yeah.
That would give you a ruler. Yeah.
I've done that like once.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, like in real life, and or a balance.
Yeah.
I've done that a couple of times.
A level.
Yeah, level. Yeah, not balance. And then, 32, 64 gigs storage, 3 gigs of RAM, 2,700 milliamp hour battery. There is a fingerprint sensor on the back, as you can see right there, and 13 megapixel rear-facing camera, OIS, and full manual camera controls. More than 30 countries with launch, though not available in the U.S. anytime soon, if at all. September 15th for pre-order. A lot of these are actually.
I love those. Those are my favorite. Not available in the U.S. I mean, I know internationally, some folks might be excited about it.
Yes. And then, real quick, Huawei Watch, the watch we love to say over and over again, available in September. From $300 to $800.
That Huawei watch looks like a Wego watch.
It's very expensive. 6 models, stainless steel, black, and rose gold plated. It does look really nice.
It looks Wego.
I have to say.
Regular. It looks like a regular watch from Huawei.
In that picture, it makes it look
that
looks
bigger. Yeah, it's funny how the angle. Scroll down. That looks like a regular watch.
Angles really are important in these press photos. Yeah. 300 milliamp hour battery, has a 400 by 400 AMOLED display, 1.4-inch display. It is round, as you can see, but audio listeners can't see. Snapdragon 1.2 gigahertz Snapdragon processor.
Cool.
Always on watch face.
I want
There you
to.
go.
I want to ask Dr. Joe about wearables, but I'm going to wait until the hardware section.
Oh.
See, this is a little earlier. So, Dr. Joe, you're going to have to hold on.
Okay.
I will. But the Huawei phone, I wonder if that's what the Nexus is going to look like, and if it does, sign me up.
Yeah. Yeah, well,
Because it has that square print on the reader on the back, and the camera's in the center. And if it has that kind of sleeve, that's nice.
but what we've seen, the leaky images that we've seen, it's like got a flat periscope-looking top camera nub thing that extends the entire way across the phone right up there.
The entire Huawei?
And
saw that.
Huawei. Whoa.
I saw that, but I think it's like what
Yeah.
they used to do, what they do with cars when they're driving on test tracks. They put like extra pieces on it
Yeah,
to
right.
disguise what it really looks like.
That's
don't-
true. That's true.
Yeah.
I would love
But
I
that
would
is
love
a
it if
nice
this one.
jacket. That's
Yeah.
a nice phone to mate. It's a nice looking phone.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep. Well, one of my favorite companies as of right now is Acer because apparently they're just crazy. So Acer finally made official the Acer Predator 8, which if you're going to name a product, name it Predator. That's great. This is an 8-inch 1920 by 1080 display, aluminum body, 4 front-facing speakers, Atom X7 by Z8700 processor, 2 gig of RAM, 32 or 64 gigabytes storage, gaming tablet, aiming after those, like after users of the Shield, the NVIDIA Shield. This looks like a direct competitor of those, which are, and I gotta admit, it's pretty badass looking. It's pretty cool.
Is it liquid cooled?
I don't know.
I don't know, but
It's cool enough.
It looks metal. It looks pretty metal.
Yeah,
It is neat.
I don't know. I don't know if I like the design. To be
I like it. I think it's cool. I think it's extreme.
looks a little too sports car for me.
Listen, it's got 4 front-facing speakers. Why? What is it?
Surround sound.
Surround sound, right?
Surround sound gaming.
Well, if you like it, it's going to be available in Europe and China in October and available on November 6th in the U.S. for $299. But what's even crazier is that Acer announced the Predator 6, which is a deca-core phone.
10 cores.
10 MediaTek core processors, 4 gig of RAM, 6-inch HD display. This is the super phone for gamers. If you're a gamer and you need a phone, you want the Predator.
The Predator.
Look at the photo of the dude holding it. Even he's just like extreme. It's Predator. It's this
Mountain
like,
Dew.
I know.
If this phone could drink soda, it would be drinking Mountain Dew.
So look at that. See, look how confident he is, right?
He's very confident.
Yeah. Same design, similar design as the
Yeah.
tablet. So
It reminds me of some of the Virtu phones that we see for a lot more money. I don't know if it has a Maca dial back.
no, it's got
Doni,
it's got
so
a
don't.
metal back,
Yeah.
no Maca dial, metal with the Predator. Why do you need 10 cores? I mean, I get it. It's good. It's super. Like, is it going to burn a hole in your
For
jeans?
the future. It's the future, Ron.
Oh, that's
You're living
great.
in the future. Do you think 10 cores is necessary, Dr. Joe? Get to the chopper.
Maybe for gaming.
Yeah, possibly for gaming. But is it necessary for Android gaming right now?
I don't think so.
But
But it
If you-
sounds nice.
Yeah, it
if
sounds
you
cool.
build it, they will come.
Maybe.
Maybe
if Acer builds their random little Predator 6 phone with 10 cores, the only phone that has 10 cores,
Listen.
they will come. I kind of think they're not coming.
I'm just saying, keep an eye on it. I think this is going to be the
Yes.
hit of the season. I think this
all
this
right.
holiday season, everyone's going to be wanting a Predator.
I don't know. There's certain phones that never show up in my office because I always look, and I'm not going to single any of them out.
Although,
But there are some that never show, and it's not Windows Phone.
just do me a favor though. If the Predator 6 ever does show up in
Take a
your
picture.
office,
In
let
the
us
wild.
know. We'll have you
Yeah.
back on. You can tell us all about
Well,
it.
no, first get to safety.
Yeah.
Then let us know. Because if the Predator shows up in your office, as we saw just before, you don't want to be any part of that.
Yeah,
So
you don't
there
want
you
any
go.
piece of that.
Yeah, the kids come. Kids use Android tablets a lot because it's a low-cost alternative, and they come in with some pretty nice, like the Dell Venue tablet. That's a mean tablet. It's
Yeah, it is.
nice.
It is absolutely.
It's playing, Subway Surfers.
Maybe not Predator mean like R mean, but yeah, mean performs pretty well.
Not like drone.
Let's see here. How about a tablet that is kind of LG G Pad 11, 10.1. Or no, sorry, 11. That's 2 eyes.
Jason's had,
Wait a minute,
had
that
a
doesn't
long
make
day.
any sense. I have had a really long day. The LG G Pad 2, but with 2 eyes.
Yep.
10.1.
Roman numeral 2.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you. 10.1 inch, 1920 by 1200 display, 2.26 gigahertz quad core Snapdragon 800. Okay. 2 gigs of RAM, 16 gig storage, 7,400 milliamp hour battery.
See, how does any tablet compare after seeing the Predator?
I
Right?
know. It's like it cowered in fear before it was released.
Exactly.
It was like,
well done, Brian, by the way, with the crickets. Good job. Seriously, the Predator owns the tablet category now.
it's true. I think that's what we're seeing here.
Yeah.
Tablets are pre-cowering because the Predator is right around the corner.
The only thing that could compete with the Predator is a tablet that is crazy in another direction, like Lenovo's Yoga Tab 3 Pro, which is a 10-inch quad HD display with a rotating hinge. All right, as we've seen that before. It's got the Intel Atom processor, 2 gig of RAM, 32 gig of storage, and a Pico projector capable of a 70-inch image projection on the wall. So
why? Because.
Exactly. Why? Because
you can. Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, it's an interesting addition. It's nice to have that in there. The tablet itself, did they give us a price on that?
499 euros in November.
Okay.
So whatever that is in American.
Okay, so I'm
$16.
probably guessing 500, upper fives ish.
499 euro.
Yeah.
This is just a little over $500.
Yep.
Okay.
So hey, think about it. I mean, haven't you ever been holding your tablet going, gee, I really wish I could project what I'm doing right now on the wall in 70 inches?
No, but only because it didn't have a Pico projector.
Exactly, and now you can.
Honestly, I've got a pretty sizable Google Play Movies catalog at this point.
Think about the hotel.
I'd be down for casting, for projecting that onto a white wall. Yeah, sure, why not?
In a dark room at night.
Right.
With no one else looking at their cell phone because it will wash it out.
That's true.
I don't know. It doesn't sound like it'll be too bright. And if it is, it's like your battery. You can just watch it go woo.
Yeah, keep it plugged in if you're doing this for sure. Okay, let's shift gears just a little bit, and talk about a few hardware stories.
I do gotta say, I'm really disappointed that Acer doesn't have a Predator watch. Like,
give it time.
Way to drop the ball, Acer.
Oh yeah, and you know how like the Predator has the 4 things that go like this.
Oh yeah,
that could be the watch face, and when you lift your wrist to tell the time, it goes.
Yep.
And then shows you the watch face, and
that'd be cool.
Yeah, that was free, by the way, Acer. You could have that. Yeah, it would do that, and it would open up, and you could see your watch face. Oh, that is frightening.
Yep.
Well, not in the not frightening news category.
Or surprising.
Motorola finally unveiled some pretty, desirable watches, I think. 2015 versions of the Motorola 360. It's now officially a thing. Starts at $299, available later this month, although I think you can go and pre-order now.
Oh, yeah.
Or can you even order it now? Maybe I was camping all weekend, so maybe you can order it now. But anyways, two versions here. You've got the small 42 millimeter version with a 1.37 inch display, 360 by 325, 1.5 days worth of battery on that one. Then you've got a larger version, 46 millimeters, 1.56 inch display at 36 by 30. And 2 days of battery life. Both have a 1.2 gigahertz quad-core Snapdragon 400 processor, which is a big upgrade from the TI chip that was in the original. And then 512 megs of RAM, 4 gigs of storage. The bands, as you can see, a lot of the leaks that I think we even showed them on the show are very similar. The button on the side is moved up a little bit. The lugs on the side, instead of the band kind of attaching inside the base of the watch, which is how my Moto 360 broke. Now these lugs are going to be a lot, I imagine this would be incredibly difficult to destroy the way I did mine. And the flat tire stays.
As we predicted.
Yes. Yeah. Motorola says this is a trade-off for a smaller body design. So
it's a feature.
Take it. There you go.
It's a feature.
Yeah, I don't mind it. to be honest. The flat tire does not bother me. I guess I've gotten used to it. I don't know if I'm beat down. Are you? Okay, so
yeah,
Wearable?
Well, before we do it, let's get through this.
Okay,
so
right.
Also in the following suit in the 2 sizes, Asus's ZenWatch 2 was announced. We got 2 sizes there. There's a smaller 1.5-inch AMOLED display, 280 by 280 display. That's on sale for 169 euros, and the larger 1.63-inch AMOLED display, 320 by 320 display for 149 euros. For some reason, the larger one is less expensive.
Yeah,
which is
I understand.
So there you go. There's the Asus ZenWatch 2 coming in a little square format. But yeah, so Dr. Joe, I wanted to ask you, what role, if any, do wearables, specifically Android wearables, play in the medical industry? Have there been Android Wear medical apps that have emerged to help you better treat your patients? So you know, is there some sort of sensor you can look at your watch and see the blood pressure? I mean,
I apologize for the rant in advance.
And
one of the reasons why, time me please. One of the reasons why I firmly believe in Android first is because literally I have no medical apps installed on any of my devices. None.
Wow.
They're horrible and irrelevant. The only medical app that I use on my device is the web browser.
Wow.
Now, because I'm carrying my laptop around or a Chromebook around to chart on, I don't need that duplicity. But then if you look at the personal side of having the second screen, to me, a watch is jewelry. And I wear my keepsake watch, and I had a Moto 360. It's still on the nightstand, but they just don't excite me at all. At all.
Yeah.
For consumers, maybe.
Yeah.
But
I don't think
that watch is jewelry, and I don't need a computer screen. And I'm literally it took me 5 minutes to plug everything in at night before to go to bed. The glass, the phone, the iPad, the Shield tablet, the Shield handheld, the Moto 360. It just keeps going.
Yeah.
The Bluetooth headset, then the MacBook. I mean, literally the lights dim before you fall asleep. And it's just I had to cut some corners, I guess, in my early adoption tendencies. But the Price is Right loser horn for the Moto 360 with the flat tire. I'm like, yeah, no thanks.
Yeah.
Well, I would imagine Google Glass would be more of a practical application. There could have been applications within medical diagnostics.
Well, yeah. I mean, you use Google Glass in your practice. Is that right? Do you still use it?
I do, but and I've been using it since I got it 2 years ago. It is an amazing documentation device. We have a glassware app that the pictures go directly into the chart. Instead of writing a sentence about a rash, it just shows the picture of the rash.
Nice.
Wow.
But the thing is that I take it off afterwards. It's
right.
It's not something I wear all the time. It's a tool, just like my stethoscope. I sometimes wear it around my neck next to my stethoscope, as a matter of fact. When I need it, I put it on, I take a picture using the glassware app. It goes into the patient's chart. It saves me time, increases the reliability of the medical data. Yep. It allows me to track longitudinal outcomes with visual, real-time data instead of a sentence. So, I mean, in that case, doctors aren't new to wearable devices. If you read, one of the things I keep up on in our website is our blog. And we're not new to wearable devices. The parabolic head mirror was technology, and it reflected the sun into patients' mouths so that we could see what was going on in there. And then you had pet stethoscopes invented by a French physician in the late 1800s who was embarrassed that he had to put his ear up to the patient to listen to what was going on. And sure enough, the stethoscope was born. So wearable technology in medicine goes hand in hand. Do I need it on my watch?
No, but it tells you that you just got a text message.
Right, but I'm trying to care for my patients.
Yes, I know.
We use end-to-end encryption with the inter-office chat, which that is helpful. But my patients know when my staff knows when I'm the patient. They're gonna say, "Hey, what are you doing? You at work?" It's like, "Yes, I'm at work."
Yeah, I imagine it would be kind of embarrassing if you were seeing a patient and suddenly a poop emoji appears on your watch and you have to kind of explain what just happened. It's probably best to just leave the watch on the
Or there's sometimes where the poop emoji is probably a very good diagnostic indicator on the chart. So.
when you don't have your glass, you can send a poop emoji and just be like it was. Yeah.
I don't know any other profession other than pediatrics that uses the word diarrhea on a daily basis. I just used it again, and I'm not even at work. Part of our life. It's part of life. You know, everybody poops. Everybody poops.
Poop emoji.
Thank you. Thank you, Brian. You're scoring big time points this week.
He is.
Good job, Brian.
Although he missed my Price is Right loser horn cue because I was totally dropping that one.
Oops. I'll be ready for the next one.
For the flat tire on the 360. It's just like,
there we go. Thank you. All right.
Let's talk about a winner.
Let's do. This episode, we're going to thank a sponsor real quick here, is brought to you by the Ring Video Doorbell. I have one of these installed at my house. I make no mistake. I love it. I use it all the time. My kids love it. I'll tell you why in a second. But basically, you can use your smartphone to see who's at your door. Using the Ring.com app on your phone, you can talk to anyone that appears at your door from anywhere in the world. It's literally like caller ID for your home. I was camping this weekend, didn't have very good connectivity, but somebody came to the door, and sure enough, I got that notification. If my connectivity was a little bit better, thanks. Sorry. No, it's okay. It's the sound. If it was a little bit better, I literally could have answered the door from camping. But, I'm camping, so I kind of try and get away from technology when I go camping. But you could do it. Built into the Ring.com doorbell is an advanced motion detector, so you can set it to detect motion in any range of distances from where it's installed. So you can set up the sensitivity. That way, when someone comes to your door, you'll actually get an alert on your phone, even if they don't end up ringing the doorbell. So it becomes kind of a security tool. Ring comes equipped with an HD camera and night vision LEDs. The night vision LEDs work very well. You'll know when deliveries arrive. You can talk with anyone at your front door. And, this kind of solves a big problem because 95% of home break-ins happen during the day. You wouldn't think that. You'd think it happens, when it's dark out and no one can see. But it turns out just showing up out of nowhere, like nothing's strange at all, whatever, is pretty darn effective. 95% effective.
Think about how often you're not at home. It's when you're at work.
Yep.
The house is empty all day.
Absolutely.
So,
The Ring Video Doorbell helps you prevent break-in. And, the first thing burglars usually do is they ring the doorbell to see if someone's home. So you're going to get that notification. You're going to be able to talk to them and say, "Hi, burglar. How are you?" Installing Ring takes minutes. It took me not very long at all. Comes with everything you need, including the drill bit, the level, and it can connect to your existing doorbell wiring. Or if you don't have that, it can run off a built-in rechargeable battery that lasts up to a year, which is crazy. You can put your mind at ease, protect your home with the video doorbell. Time Magazine actually named it one of the top 10 gadgets of 2014. And as for me, I said I was going to mention, how my kids love it. They get home from school, usually on Tuesdays, because I'm here later on Tuesdays. They know that they can press the button because Daddy's at work. And if they press it, I'm going to get a notification. And every once in a while, I'm going to jump on and talk to them randomly for a couple of minutes. It's awesome. I can see them there.
It's such a great use case. Babysitter.
Maybe not babysitter. Thankfully, someone's there with them, my wife. But it's a cool, random way to talk to my kids. So, pretty neat stuff. Right now, you can get $10 off the normal price. Protect your home and have peace of mind with Ring. Go to ring.com/allaboutandroid. and you'll get $10 off the price. That's ring.com/allaboutandroid. And we thank Ring for their support of All About Android. Love this product. It's so much fun.
Super cool.
Also got the Ring Chime, which is a plug-in because we don't have an actual bell in our house. We removed it. So the Chime just plugs in and also connects to your Wi-Fi inside. So it rings that and it rings your phone, and it's great.
Between smart things and Ring,
everything's smart.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Smart.
Finally, we're living in the future. Finally. Now I just need my gray jumpsuit, and I'll be all set.
And futuristic-looking glasses.
Exactly, some sort of visor
shades
type thing. Yes, exactly.
Or something.
Yeah.
That's like the 80s future.
Yeah, well,
the shades
I
glasses.
grew up in the 80s, so I'm okay with it. So.
Cool.
Yep.
Let's talk about apps.
Boy, are we going to talk about some apps.
Oh, yeah. We're going to get into apps right now. Let's do it.
I find it's not on the rundown or has anything to do with it, but with the recent Alphabet and then the Google logo redesign, I haven't installed any of the APKs. I'm waiting to see which apps get updated first, and I still haven't gotten the search app.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so far Google Maps is the only app that has been updated.
Oh, yeah. Your search bar is not colorful.
Yeah, it's not colorful at all. No, unfortunately.
It's a bumper.
So, yep.
Well, what you can get if you want is a redesigned Street View app.
Cool.
Yeah, everything I was reading was like the newly released Street View app, but as far as I know, it was always an app.
It was always an app, yeah.
But they've basically added some cool functionality to it. So it's redesigned from the ground up. Looks great. Obviously follows the material design and everything, but it has a big focus on photosphere. So you can see like the map. Any of these areas you can either tap into to find photospheres from all around the world. You can also, oops, I went back. You can also tap on these dots, and that will zoom you into the area.
The middle of the ocean.
Yeah, I'm like, wait a minute, correct, please. And it'll show you where there's a large group of them to take a look at. So I can keep going in. I'm gonna just find one so I can launch it, and then it brings up everything around that area. Go to the Waikiki Wall and wish that I was there. And sure enough, there's the Waikiki Wall. Somebody, somebody uploaded this to Google servers, and you can do this all around the world. You can upload your own up to there as well. You can, just swipe to check out other things. It's pretty. Is
the requirement that you have to be in a soulless cubicle at a very large company, sitting there looking at photos of Hawaii, wishing you were somewhere else?
No, but it certainly helps. I do not have any uploaded, apparently. I thought I'd uploaded some at some point, but I don't, so I have to add to that.
Cool.
And then there's also collections, so you can check out different collections of cool places of a particular theme based on what you're looking at. So if I zoomed out, those collections would change. Of course, I'm in Hawaii, so it's not a whole lot of space to play with. But anyways, it's a neat app. You should definitely check it out. It's the Google Street View app.
Cool.
With lots of photosphere stuff.
Awesome. Great way to explore the world around you.
Yeah.
And while you're exploring, the new version of Google Translate, version 4.3, makes it that much easier to actually interact with foreign languages on your device. The latest update to Google Translate now takes advantage of the contextual selection ability in Marshmallow, Android M version 6.0. So no longer, if you're using your phone or device and an application, you want to translate a word, no longer will you have to copy that text, jump to translate, paste, get the translation, and go back to the app. Now you can simply highlight a word and then choose translate to translate words on the fly as they appear within the app. So that's just smart. That's just cool. Good integration. So good job, Google Translate.
Yeah. I love that tools like this are allowing just the platform in general to get smarter with all of this interoperability between the apps and everything. That makes perfect sense. It's one of those additions that you're like, why couldn't you do that
Think
before?
of the number of taps that saves you. You know, and just think.
Well, there's nothing. Yeah, there's nothing. Especially in this regard, highlight it, copy it, multitasking window to the other app, to paste it in, to get the thing, to copy it. It's just one tap instead.
Good stuff.
And speaking of awesome improvements, Chrome 45 for Android now has support for Chrome custom tabs. Don't expect to see any speed differences quite yet. Developers kind of need to get on board, although there were a handful of developers that were kind of announced at launch. This allows developers to keep users inside their app's design when they're actually viewing web content. This was shown off at Google I/O. Things like automatic sign-in, saved passwords, tap to search, autofill, all come along for the ride from Chrome, so inside the app. So that makes your app more robust in that regard. And results are speedier, as you can see here. Things in Chrome custom tabs in this example load a lot quicker than WebView or just being thrown to a browser in order to load the content. So, So, Joe, as a fan of the platform, let's see, how do I phrase this question? Android M Marshmallow is 6.0. Do you think that it justifies the full number upgrade based on the improvements that you're seeing kind of trickle out and everything like that? Are you excited about Marshmallow? Do you think it justifies that?
But it seems like every few iterations we see a version number that they want to kind of sweep under the rug, like Honeycomb. It kind of just disappeared. No one talked about it. But I think that with the whole encryption and the memory debacle from the beginning, I think that I think they just want to start fresh. But
yeah.
I think the deep linking and the ability for the ecosystem to use the information versus app to app, I think that's big enough. I really do. I think that makes a big enough difference to me.
Yeah.
So I say bring it on.
Yeah. I'm liking a lot of the changes.
But if I could talk about the Street View app, the minute I opened it, I was expecting to be able to put that thing in cardboard and look at all of those in cardboard.
Thank you.
There was no button, and I have not opened it since. It should have been baked right in.
I completely agree. I was looking for it.
Where's this cardboard app? So I put it in. Maybe it's going to sense it. But I think they took that NFC pad off the new version, but I'm like, maybe, and I'm like, oh, I can see it. And then I realize I'm not even seeing it.
You're just cross-eyed.
It's amazing. The brain, it plays.
I know. I know. Wow, this is a really cool look at 3D image. Oh, wait a minute.
Speaking of cardboard, the Viewmaster should be out soon, right? This is to come out this fall, right?
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, let me look that up. You do the email.
That's what I've been waiting for. But yeah, all right, so real quickly before we move on, we got an email. Derek from Scotland wrote in, and he goes, I know it's a bit late to this email, but I wanted to mention about Ron's winning app in the arena, Microsoft Office Lens. You might remember, I forget which episode number it was, but it was a few weeks back. Office Lens was the cool app where you take a picture of something and it captured the image of the whiteboard or whatever and allows you to save it. Derek says, I think the app is fantastic, but it's lacking Google Drive support for saving your scanned documents. I found that Google Drive has a similar feature and has been around for some time, but I've only just found out about it. The Google Drive app has a widget called Drive Scan. The widget creates an app icon on your home screen, which opens a very similar app to the Office Lens. I don't know if you've ever mentioned it on the show, but I just thought I would let you know about it. Great show as always. And
I didn't know about this.
I did not know about this either at all. And it's funny because you're absolutely right. Microsoft Office Lens lacked Drive support, and I think I mentioned that when I reviewed it in the arena, but it was part of their Microsoft's Garage beta program, and you never know, like an app comes out and you're like, oh, well, I hope they do this thing that I want them to do in a future update. And I haven't gone back to see if they've done it or not, but I had no idea that was available in Drive. So
no, I don't think that they have Drive compatibility.
I don't think they've done it yet, but I didn't know that Drive Scan existed, but I want to look closer at it because Office Lens was doing a lot more with the image you were taking in terms of correcting it and flattening it and making it legible if you took it on an angle or things like that. Or I'd be curious if Drive Scan is just allowing you to take a picture and save it to Google Drive.
Well, no, I mean, if you take a look at the example, it is doing a little bit of the
stitching.
Slanted.
Yeah.
See how it's doing the automatic outline.
That's awesome.
But Office Lens did give controls over, like, what is this? Is this a photo? Is it a whiteboard? And it had different image processing based on that. So that's probably something that's a little different.
I feel like Office Lens is a little more intensive than what Drive Scan is. But if you're a Google Drive user, this is great.
That's a great tip. By the way, Viewmaster virtual reality still coming fall 2015. So we'll probably hear about it soon. And I just signed up for the wait list.
I know I need to get that on that. But anyway, thank you, Derek, for the email. Awesome.
Yes. Cool. All right. Before we get into a jam-packed arena, let's thank our final sponsor of today's episode, and that is LegalZoom. Big fan of LegalZoom and using them for years. And, for me, in my life, it's because of our family and protecting our family with a living will living will and trust. But they cover the gamut of all of your legal needs, both from information as well as, forms and services. You shouldn't have to choose a random lawyer who charges, expensive hourly rates. And let me tell you, they are expensive when you need legal help. But, the legal system, it's complicated. You don't have a whole lot of choices when you need help with your business or when you want to protect your family. You can start with LegalZoom, first of all, because what they do is they make this easy. For more than a decade, they provided a way for regular people, just like you and me, to confidently navigate the legal system. If you need help with incorporation, LLCs, trademarks, last wills, living trusts, and so much more, LegalZoom's the smart choice. They've got the right people on hand to offer the right answer to your question. LegalZoom's not a law firm. That's important. That's how they provide such great value. They don't rely on charging you by the hour. Instead, you'll get transparent pricing as well as customer reviews, so you know exactly what you're getting up front. If you do need legal advice, they have a network of independent attorneys that can provide the straightforward guidance that you'll need in most states. So don't let legal hurdles become an excuse for you. Go to LegalZoom.com today, and you can start building your own future the right way. That's LegalZoom.com. Don't forget to enter AAA in the referral box at checkout, and guess what? You'll save even more. And we thank LegalZoom.com for their support of All About Android. All right, without further ado, let's jump into the arena.
So many enter, but only one lives. Android Arena.
Last week.
All right.
Let's take a look. Okay, so Lara Croft Go wins with 54% of the votes. It is a pretty darn good game. It's a lot of fun. Amazon Video, that was Gina's pick, came in second at 35%. And HGTV Watch.
I used it all weekend.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, I know it's niche, but if you're a fan of the House Hunters, HGTV Watch is the way to go. So
there you go. That was at 12%. So I think that's about it. Why don't you go first, Ron?
all right, I will kick things off. Good job on the win, by the way.
Thank you.
Get you back into contention. You know,
Yeah,
now that you got 11 wins, you're tied with guests.
11.
11,
Ron
11,
has
13.
13.
So, yeah,
Oh, man. Still need to catch up.
Yep.
Let's do this.
Okay. So we've been talking a lot about Android Auto of late as the impending release of Android Auto comes out and ways for developers to test with it. And Android Auto to me has really been a non-issue because I'm not going to buy a car. Very likely, the chance of Zipcar or get around having a car with Android Auto will be pretty limited. That said, I do a lot of driving, and every time I'm driving, someone in my life yells at me to stop texting while I'm driving, or to stop using my phone while you're driving. Listen, it's hard. And I came across this app actually I came across it this morning, found it really interesting, used it on the drive up here. It's called Drivemode, and it's a really interesting interface for your phone while you're on the road. Have you seen this or have you covered this already?
I have not.
Okay,
No.
cool. So what Drivemode is when you launch it, it takes over the front end of your phone, and it basically gives you a gesture-based interface for your phone. So if you've got one of those little thingies that attaches to the dashboard and you've got the phone to the right of your driver to the steering wheel, you don't need to look at it because it will both talk to you as well as make it easy for you to interact with just quick broad swipes as opposed to specific taps. So as soon as I load it up, you see here, it gives you the time. And if I just swipe to the right, it gives me this little menu. And if I turn the volume up, I don't know why that's not working. Let me do this.
Oh, it might
There you
be
go.
like
No, there it
forcing
is.
it through this.
No, it's because I had notifications off. There we go. Okay. So there we go. Yeah. So it's got a lot of sound gestures. There, I just turned on the music.
Good song.
So, okay. So, so what happens is that you go from here, and if you swipe to the right,
Music.
gives you music.
Contacts. Music. Navigation. Settings.
See, so these are all simple, and you
Navigation.
and you can see by the
Nice.
dot on my screen, I'm swiping anywhere on the screen, and it's going up from there. So
Music.
if I want to go to music, I swipe back right, and if I just tap it, it'll start playing. Hypothetically. Why won't you start playing?
Music.
Oh wait, because it's there it is. Hang on. Do.
Oh, because it was in the notification shade.
Yeah, why did I do that? Oh, I don't want to go anywhere.
Music.
There we go. I tap music. So there we go. Now it's playing. So now, see, so
Got it.
yep. And I can go to the next song. I can go to the next song, or I can go back a song. So it gives you really broad gesture-based control over what you're doing. And then if you want to go to navigation,
Home.
and
Starting navigation.
Lord.
it'll pull, it'll pull up navigation. It'll keep your music going. I want to stop the.
Oh, and it has the little floating on the side thing.
Yeah, exactly,
So it keeps
yeah.
it there.
Yep.
Okay.
Your destination is on the right.
Yeah.
Navigation.
Yeah. So it's neat. It's
Navigation.
once you get the hang of it, it actually makes driving. I'm gonna stop the music. It makes driving. I didn't look at my phone barely at all while I was driving. Switching to the messaging thing, which I don't really want to. And I don't know if Brian, if you want to pull up the video, but it allows you to. It's got canned text messages. So here you go. So in this particular instance, you can call somebody directly. You can receive a call, but you can also, if you're driving and you want to let someone know I'm almost there, you can have canned text messages say, I'm 10 minutes out, I'm running late, stuck in traffic. It just basically makes it easy to use your phone without actually looking at it. So it was a nice little alternative to Android Auto. I thought it was pretty cool, and I actually tested it on the way up, and it worked pretty well. So the demo doesn't represent as well as the app works because we're not in a car.
What I like about it is it keeps things very big, which is what you need on an interface for the car.
Yeah, exactly.
Not just to cram a bunch of stuff on there and give you full control,
right?
On one screen. Just make it big.
And it was also really smart in terms of there's recommendations so that when you pull up your phone, like so for example, I can get away without showing any personal information here for a moment. Let's see. It's got great sound effects too. Why did you go away? Okay, so if I go to the contact people,
navigation, music, contacts,
it will not show anything.
Contacts.
So it will recommend people for me to talk to based on my calls. You see, I talk to my sister a lot. Right? So the recommendations were actually whether it's tapping into what my phone, tapping into the API of my phone dialer, knowing who I talk to the most. These are most likely the people who I'm going to see. Wings. These are most likely the places I would call the most. So it's recommending them, saying that, hey, this is somebody you're likely to call next. And it's got other different options you can choose between your favorites or even recent calls. So so it's really, it was really impressive in terms of the smarts that it applied to it and giving you basically when you're driving. Those are the three things that you want to do when you're driving with your phone are control the music, control the maps, and communicate with people. And Drivemode gives you a safer way to do all three.
Nice.
So, So check it out. It's free in the Google Play Store. If Android Auto is not on your radar, Drivemode might be. So there you go.
Well, and even if Android Auto is on your radar, if all you have is a phone and not a head unit that works with Android Auto or that has Android Auto in it, then you're still using your phone, and so something like that would totally be very useful in that regard.
And it also will read aloud text messages.
Nice.
And so basically minimizing touching the phone, which is what we all want to be safe. So.
Excellent. That is Drivemode, one word, and that is free. All right, Dr. Joe, I have your app installed. I'll go ahead and show it off while you kind of talk about what you love about it.
All right. Here in Central Texas, we get a lot of severe weather or no weather. It hasn't rained. Only recently has it started to rain. But, I always find myself, especially as a boat captain, looking at fronts approaching and whatnot. And I always hated these apps because they were so slow or not very customizable. So my radar, which is a weather radar, it's all it does. And it comes with a couple of in-app purchases, but even the free-to-download version is really nice. And if you go down, show the wind. That's one of my favorite features is that it'll actually show the wind currents in directional. So cloud, wind at the bottom. And when you zoom in, you can actually see which direction the wind is coming from. When you're doing your boating or you want to see if the weather's coming your way, I find it to be very helpful. But I really like it because it's really fast. It doesn't take up too much memory, and it does that. That's also really cool.
That's pretty sweet.
But it also has international support. So because I'm in Europe or in the U.S. or San Francisco, wherever, it's not like some of the NOAA apps which only cover the U.S. So cool. I found it. It's pretty psychedelic too.
I'm tripping right now. Yeah.
But paying for Team G, I think that this is a winner. So vote for this one.
Excellent. This is MyRadar weather radar.
Yeah, that's a pretty mean cyclone over there.
I know. I just want to go in there and turn on some Pink Floyd and just not do anything else, man. Just
I can pull back up the Nick Drake song for my playlist.
Your location. You can also have a forecast screen at the top. I actually have that turned off. That's the map I use. HD is a little bit smoother, but I kind of like the 8-bit blockiness of this map too. So that's my pick for the Arena.
Excellent pick.
That's a good app.
This is really cool. I like the.
It's nice and lightweight.
Lightweight, and yet it's pretty. It's pretty to look up.
Yeah, it's fun.
Especially
because in Texas we can get wind from any direction. So if you're boating and you're sailing, you want to know which prevailing winds, and I find it to be very useful.
Petaluma, how warm is it here? Tell me.
Heating up over there.
Tell me.
The color is disturbing.
Just hit the button at the bottom. You see the locate me button?
Oh, I could have done that. Yeah.
Here.
Okay.
It's 75 right now.
75. Oh, that's not too bad.
This is cooled down.
Yeah, apparently it's cooled down.
It's still 89 here. So and it's 9:10 p.m. So yeah, just your weather is fine. Don't complain.
Okay, I won't compare. MyRadar weather radar, free with you.
In-app purchases. I love it. I've been using it for a couple years.
Excellent. And MyRadar, by the way, is one word. All right. So, so my app is called PulsePoint. Now, this is, first of all, I have to thank Jim Jackson on Google+, who was the first person. I actually got this recommendation from quite a few people, but Jim Jackson was the first person to recommend this, kind of based on my show outro last week, which was a little different than normal show outros. If you are interested in seeing why I ended the show with that, you can check out my Google Plus page. You can check out my Facebook profile. I have a public post there. I also put it out on Twitter, but man, Twitter is like, stuff gets lost on Twitter. I feel like it's like really shouting out into a cavern, and a few people understand what you said. Anyways, go to my Google Plus page. It's there. Basically, it was a story that really, touched me and brought. I was involved with a story that directly relates to this app. So it's PulsePoint Respond, and what this is it's essentially the challenge that it's trying to tackle here is that CPR, when it comes to applying CPR effectively, one of the most important things, other than someone knowing what to do in that situation, is time. Because the longer time goes without CPR, the likelihood of brain damage or possibly death. So what PulsePoint allows you to do is, if you are trained in CPR, or you can just use it as kind of, to kind of peer into other regions and stuff. But primarily, if you're trained in CPR, you can be notified when someone reports a cardiac emergency nearby that requires CPR. This is done for when someone calls into, any number of emergency agencies. Now, the challenge for something like PulsePoint is that they can only do this when they have certain arrangements with local facilities, basically that will allow you to do that. And the only way that they can do that is to make those deals to get that information from them. So you'll see the list of supported regions isn't gigantic. And if I do a search for my current location, it's not going to pull up anything for Petaluma, because Petaluma doesn't work with this. You can actually influence this. If you bring this to the attention of local fire departments, city council, emergency response agency, and you tell them you want to see something like PulsePoint happening, to kind of save lives in the community. Because what it's all about is getting help to the people in a timely fashion. A lot of times something like this happens, emergency happens, and people don't know what to do. And so they're just waiting for the emergency response to arrive. And by the time they arrive, it's too late.
That time is crucial.
Absolutely crucial. So with PulsePoint, so basically I've added a couple of points here to monitor. Go to Palo Alto, and you can see basically what you're looking at on a map is everything that's been reported to the Palo Alto Fire Department that has registered inside the app. 53 minutes ago, there was a medical emergency right here. This was at 6:51.
20 minutes
so
ago.
20 minutes ago, a medical emergency. And
Oh, Jesus. I hope they got help.
I know. Well, yes, I do too. Absolutely, I do. But this allows you to, hopefully, if you're in a supported region, you can sign up and say, I'm certified. I know how I'm trained in CPR, and you can get notified. So if someone calls in, if you happen to live, right here on, right in Alta Mesa, right around the corner, and this call came in, it would know that you are near there and that you've signed up to receive this notification because you're certified. And before the emergency responders could get there, you'd get that notification and you could dart out the door and literally be Superman and help save a life. It's a really cool service. It obviously, from my playing around with it, I wish it was the kind of thing that was supported more widely. It's not like there aren't agencies that are working with it. It's just that I couldn't find any of the ones that I plugged into, like Boise, Idaho, or Atlanta, or Petaluma, or whatever. But it shows you that there are areas that are working with this, and it would be a really great thing if more would, because I think that's just a great way to save lives. And actually, there's Brian, in the doc underneath my app is a screenshot that I attached in there, and that's kind of what you see in the app if you're signed up to receive the notifications and you're qualified. You get the message, CPR needed, location, where is it, and everything. The app also does have some information on like CPR, how to how to perform CPR if you want to kind of read up on it and kind of see, it actually also gives you the compression rate for chest compressions. And there's also an attached functionality in here, AEDs, which can help. Wow. They're basically defibrillators. So these are points where a defibrillator might be needed. And if you happen to have one of those, they have a companion app that you can sign up. So it's kind of a crazy world that we live in, that you can do this sort of thing.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But yeah, it's very cool and potentially very effective. So it's called PulsePoint, and it is free. And yeah, you get real-time access to emergency calls as they happen, and maybe you can be the one to save someone's life. Cool stuff. PulsePoint Respond.
Cool.
All right. So that is this week's Arena. Place your vote. Let us know which is your favorite app of the week. Is it Drivemode? Is it MyRadar, Weather Radar, or is it PulsePoint? Just head on over to AAApoll.com/230 and place your vote. We'll check in on it next week and see who is the grand winner.
Yes, the grand winner.
But man, that's it. We've overdone our time.
We have.
Once again.
Dr. Joe, thanks so much, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, it's been really great having you on the show and hearing all about what you're doing and just getting your perspective on Android outside of what you're doing. This is a great opportunity for you to kind of get one last plug in. What's the most important thing that you want people to know to find you or follow what you're doing, all that kind of stuff?
I'm trying to break 500 followers. I feel sad about this.
You're $4.99, dude.
Come on, everyone, one more.
Oh, seriously, nice. That number's going to go up here any second.
That actually was 476 like before the show.
All right.
So I have to say to the people out there, thank you very much.
That's the power of All About Android. Let's get a refresh. Let's get a refresh, Brian. Let's see where we're at now.
Refresh might be necessary.
Come on.
Let's see.
The suspense is killing me.
Oh, it's going to jump. I promise you.
I feel it's that scene in The Social Network. Hey, Mackie, put up on the big board.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And any listeners or viewers out in London, I'll be there for the month, this month in October, for our companion company, our sister company in London. Love to meet up, talk Android development and crowdsourcing. Did it do it?
You did it. You got it.
You made it. You made it.
Now, I meant say 500. I said 600. Also, I'm on the advisory board for the Ideas Big Android Barbecue. You're going to come, if you come on October 22nd and 23rd in Hearst, Texas, Dallas, Texas. Listen to my keynote about the MedTech Zone and come and hear all the great speakers. It's a lot of fun. And if you're interested in joining the Dev Corps, just search on Google, and I believe the links will be in the show notes.
Absolutely. All the links are always in the show notes, twit.tv/AAA. Dr. Joe, it's been a pleasure having you on. We have to have you back sometime soon.
Can't wait, and the show hasn't even finished, and I can't wait for the next time. It's been a pleasure.
It's been great. I think 600 is fully possible because our downloadable numbers are way bigger than our live numbers. So cross your fingers, you might just hit 600.
You're going to have a lot of celebrating to do, Dr. Joe.
Sorry, I said 800.
Everyone do it.
Yes.
Cool, and that's at IKeySee. That's IKEYSEE on Twitter. Thanks again, sir.
Thank you so much, guys.
Absolutely. Cool. Ron, what about you?
While we're at it, I just recently crossed 13,000 Twitter followers, and I was really hoping to cross 15,000. No, I'm just kidding. As always, you can go to about.me/RonXO where you can follow me on Twitter and on Google Plus and Facebook and Instagram and all that fun stuff. Couple of two things to talk to you guys about today. Number one, recently my other podcast I do, I Fanboy, all about comic books, recently passed a milestone. We hit our 500th episode 2 weeks ago. Woo! And last week was our 501st episode, and we did a 3-hour-long live stream where we answered audience questions and things like that. So go to ifanboy.com. You can listen to that whole 3-hour debacle. You can even watch it on YouTube at the iFanboy YouTube channel. Nice. But yeah, 10 years, nearly 10 years of podcasting. Craziness. 501 episodes. Crazy.
500 is a recurring theme right now.
Yeah, apparently it is. Yeah. But we haven't missed a week since October 2005. Wow. Crazy. Yeah. Anyway, a couple of weeks that we missed, like with the holidays, we'll skip, but stuff like that. But anyway, but also, if you're following me on Google Plus or on Twitter earlier today, you might have saw that I announced that today was actually my first day at my new day job. I'm now working for a company called Drop, which is a awesome company that has built a really cool Bluetooth kitchen scale, and they have an iPad app that connects to the scale, and it lets you become a better baker, become a better cook. Really great interactive recipes, and you can get exact measurements. And I'm really excited to join this new startup, young company. Really exciting stuff to do, including stuff on the horizon. There's a reason why I'm joining them at this juncture. I'll let you read between the lines there. But you can check them out at getdrop.com, and that's where I'll be by day now moving forward. So I'm really excited.
You're not leaving us, are you?
No. I will not be. One of my contingencies was that I can continue to do the podcast. But yeah, we were talking earlier about smart things, and Ring Drop is yet another Internet of Things kind of company. And I'm really excited. It's really cool to be working with hardware and software, at an early stage in a company where I can actually help, get the word out, as well as hopefully help see some of the products grow to maturity. So,
did I tell you that I'm really hungry?
I'd love that data, guys. Can you imagine me tracking my diabetic patients? Just give me a call, Ron.
Yeah, definitely. That'd be cool. That'd be good stuff.
These are the things that I'm looking out for.
That's awesome.
I mean, we can literally turn calorie counts on their end and really quantify the patient self. It's so important. Let's do it. Give me a call on that one.
That'd be awesome.
Sure.
Very cool.
We have an API waiting for you.
Cool.
It has your name written all over it. It's called the Ron Richards API.
Yeah, there you go. So that's my plug.
That's awesome. Congratulations on the new gig.
Thank you. Yeah, exciting.
Brian.
Yeah.
Also known as Bri.
That's right. Big B. I got a few nicknames around here that I make up on the fly. As a type 1 diabetic, I would be totally up for you to do that app, Ron. So,
all right, cool. Good to know.
Yeah, I'm up for that. You can follow me on Twitter at cranky_hippo. I recently made a about.me page / Brian Burnett. Yeah, so all that stuff is contained now. I don't have to worry about making a bunch of different stuff.
Good work, Brian. It's good to have you back.
It's good to be back.
But for a week.
Yeah, sorry guys, I'm not going to be here next week. I only do the even number episodes because those tend to be the better ones.
You have to be here next week, Brian.
Oh, is there a big announcement next week?
We need you next week. We
always need you.
Every week we need you.
I'm sure there's something. Yeah.
Guys, I'm really bummed.
Why? What?
I'm sitting at 29.7 thousand followers on Twitter, and I really want,
hoping for 30,000.
I really want 30,000 followers. Right. I'm sorry, Dr. Joe. I'm sorry. I feel like such a jerk.
Me feel horrible over here.
I feel like such a jerk. I couldn't help.
That's quite okay. I still need the audience, and you can only build your audience once.
Yep,
that's true.
And
build it the right way.
Of pundit, these are the types of occasions where and I'm looking at a guy thinks I just got 46 followers. I mean, those people want to hear what I want to say. Why would I pay for 10,000 followers or people
Absolutely.
that whatnot. But I'm not worthy for your 10,000 and your 5,000 and your 15,000. And
Brian,
I'm a jerk. I fully admit it. I'm sorry.
Can we check the big board on Dr. Joe? Can we see what he's at?
You pull that up.
Let me do a quick refresh.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Let's keep Brian on his toes.
516. Oh, this is hitting 600.
This is great.
This is like a telethon right now.
Awesome.
I know, right? $1 to pediatric cancer research for every follower over 800 that I get.
Man, this is like 2008 all over again when you're begging for followers. Remember that? Follow me, please.
Oh yeah, it's unfortunate.
Yeah. All right.
Hey, very important, and I don't, I want people to follow me because they want to know about pediatrics, about M-Health, about health information technology, about weird medicine stuff, about pediatric topics. If Twitter's like shouting across a very crowded auditorium, so it's a very limited platform, but yet it's so captivating.
Yeah. Yep. It's true. We'll get you there.
I really appreciate you having me on.
No problem.
Yeah.
No problem. Let's wrap this bad boy up. About.me/Jason Howell, I suppose, if you want to go there.
Yellow Gold Music, folks.
YellowGoldMusic.com. Whatever.
Go to
but
Google
that's not important. All that's important is that this was a great episode, and that's it. We're done. That's it for this week. Voicemails can be left at 347-SHOW-AAA. I need to do a better job checking them. Emails and video mails can be sent to AAA@twit.tv. We're on Twitter @AndroidShow. We are on Reddit, twitaaa.reddit.com. We have show notes, full show notes, and past episodes can all be found at twit.tv/AAA. You can also find our episodes in the usual places, podcatchers, YouTube, iTunes, that sort of place. And you can catch us live every Tuesday, 5 p.m. Pacific, live.twit.tv. That is it for this week. We will see you next week on another episode of All About Android. Bye.